Bom, comentando jogos clássicos, nona rodada do Pro Tour 25 anos, Pro Tour que foi muito especial, aconteceu há 4 anos atrás. Era trios, por isso nós temos sempre nome de 3 jogadores. Cada um jogava um formato, Legacy, Standard e Modern, sempre em melhores de 3. E a gente tá aqui na nona rodada, já é no segundo dia, né? O primeiro dia teve 7 rodadas. E a gente vai para o segundo dia. Estamos na partida de Legacy, né? De Gerard e Fabiano contra Yuya Takahashi. Takahashi, né? Que viria a ser campeão mundial anos depois. Ambos aqui 6-2, então lembrando, esse torneio não tem corte pro top 8, o corte é para o top 4. Então não dá pra perder mais. Até 6-2 eles estão perigando não entrar. E a gente vai pra essa partida. Então a gente tem no Legacy o W Stone Blade versus Grixis Control. No Modern, o W Control versus Jun de Vengevine, tá o deck dos jovens, esses decks de Vengevine. E no Standard, Mirror de Steel Leaf Stomp é monogreen, tentando o dedo no outro, e Stoneforge tá na mesa. Que ninguém tem bom senso. Faz sentido, Rafa.
Being powered out on turn 2 and just making all these ponders and brainstorms so much weaker.
But these days, however, just the straight 3 colors now and
Pastuno, o Takahashi não fez parte. Enquanto vamos ver como é que ele segue. Esse Grixis, a gente viu já em outra rodada aqui do Comentando Jogos Clássicos, né? O Red Duke tava jogando. Uma ideia bem parecida, tem como a gente com o Lagan e tal. É um deck bem legal, assim. O player do meio, Takimura, é a junção dos nomes dos outros dois nomes, né? Takahashi, Takimura, Fujimura. Olha que bacana. Olha lá como a vida tem esses momentos de verdade. Trix. Vai. Tinha reparado nessa do nome.
Avenue taken to victory by this deck, it revolves around Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, Stoneforge Mystic, if it's not dealt with immediately, as we see here.
Acho que faz seu terreno. Ele pode passar, porque mesmo entrando a Battle School, ele ainda tem bloco. Tem algumas situações boas pra ela. Não fez Battle School. Não sei se ele tá com medo de tomar vendilha ou alguma coisa.
Also, it's not doing a huge amount against that Baleful Strix just yet. But that's not the end of the line here for Fabiano, because this white-blue deck is more than able to take different avenues of attack. True Name Nemesis, Jace the Mind Sculptor, fantastic win conditions here, and especially the True Name Nemesis in conjunction with something like an Umasawa's Jitte.
I think True Name Nemesis could be the key card if Fabiano wants to win this game. There's still the small issue of Liliana of the Veil, but only one of them in the...
Aqui o Takahashi pode deixar esse brainstorm resolver, aí ele dá um Bolt, por exemplo, na Stoneforge e fica... Me parece que é o que ele vai fazer.
I think it's important to note as well that we have earmarked this Stoneblade deck as white-blue.
The Bolt.
It is playing the third color, red, for some cards out of the board. Not only 2 copies of Blood Moon, but also a couple of Pyroblasts.
I still like to call it white-blue, because if it doesn't have any red cards in the main deck, similar to mono-red aggro with activations of Scrap Heap Scrounger, it's just cleaner.
Gives you a much better idea of what's going on here, yes indeed. Takahashi, however, well and truly dipping into all.
A partir de controls, o Fabiano vai tentando não destapar para não tomar alguma das ameaças. Por exemplo, o Jace Mind Sculptor, se ele entrar aqui na mesa, ele consegue dominar, independente do lado que isso acontece. O Takahashi vai construindo uma posição boa, ainda mais com os Snapcasters, e ele consegue lutar bem contra o jogo do Gerard Fabiano. Falando em Jace.
the Mind Sculptor recently let off the leash in Modern as well.
Choppers.
A spell pierce here from Fabiano, who picked up that spell pierce from last turn's brainstorm.
Eita.
We were talking about must counters in the.
Valeu, mano, tudo bom, meu querido? Então, a gente tá numa live de 12 horas do Após. E normalmente de quarta-feira eu faço comentando jogos clássicos. Que depois vai pro YouTube e tal. E já tinham pedido, mais uma pessoa tinha pedido o Pro Tour 25 anos, né? Que tem Legacy, Modern e T2. Eu falei, pô, vou aproveitar e fazer a live pegando esse evento inteiro. E então a gente dá essa aproveitada. Então a gente faz o comentando jogos clássicos e ainda faz essa live do Apoias.
Can you tell us a little bit about the card Brainstorm and its role in Legacy? It is a centerpiece of the Legacy format, and there's a particular type of cards, the fetch lands, that interact with it in a very interesting way.
Yeah, so what this enables these super powered decks to do is
Ixi, ali não sei se ele tá realmente preocupado.
specific answer cards that you will have in the main deck, almost like a pre-sideboarded deck against the meta game. And with Brainstorm, you see some
ok.
that you can also
Grandes
shuffle them
novidades.
back in your deck if you don't need them. That this allows for more flexible deck building. And then there is the whole gameplay aspect of trying to time your brainstorms in a way that you almost always want to shuffle after it has resolved, immediately after it has resolved, so you don't even want a single draw step.
So we will often see the play pattern of Brainstorm immediately fetch away cards. And it's not card advantage, Simon, but it is an incredibly meaningful way to improve the quality of the cards that you're playing.
Cara, quando estourar uma fight aqui de counter vai ser engraçado. Esse Fabiano é BR? Não, ele chama Gerard Fabiano, é um americano. Ali aparece só o sobrenome dos jogadores.
Very different posture from both of these.
Yes, indeed. Here's a Snapcaster Mage. Is there a Brainstorm now in Takahashi's bin? I don't see one.
No, just the Lightning Bolt.
Lightning Bolt going to take care of the other Snapcaster Mage. Excuse me, there for Fabiano. And it's back to Takahashi now. Finds a Ponder off the top.
Ponder é uma carta bem interessante aqui pro Takahashi. Pra desenvolver, achar alguma ameaça de verdade. Ele tá querendo uma guerra de counter logo, porque ele tá bem unido por assim. E aí depois ele consegue jogar alguma ameaça maior dele.
Oh, yes, he does. Excuse me. Wow, that was one of the fastest ponders I've ever seen. Usually they look at the top three and if they immediately dump them back on top, it's a shuffle. But he was just obviously just thrilled to see.
Tem um Brainstorm ali, muito bom.
Like, yep. Set it, forget it. And let's move on now.
Hey,
Brainstorm. Okay. You'll notice there that Takahashi has not just fetched
tem uma carta preta. Push, outro push pelo jeito. Estourar a fetch, mandar tudo isso embora e segue a pelota.
Uncracked in this format, super relevant. You enable your brainstorms, you play around Wasteland, and your dual lands don't even cost your life to fetch out untapped.
Snapcaster. Muitos tantos de mana que o Takahashi tá, são muito bons. Época que Snapcaster era staple no Modern, né? Não fazia tanto tempo que ele tinha sido staple no T2.
Brainstorm, excuse me. And if he's going to cast that, he's going to have to fetch. So away goes the Bloodstained Mire.
One of the key skills as a Legacy player, especially with a Brainstorm deck, is to keep track of your duels. Because you don't actually play that many duels. You don't play 4 Underground Sea, 4 Volcanics. But rather, it's usually some combination of 2, 2, and 1. And you have to be careful not to rely on a duel that's not in your deck anymore.
Takahashi also has a relatively high number of basics. He's playing 2 islands, 2 swamps, in addition to 4 total dual lands there. So classic Legacy mana base, although again, I mean, maybe looking to ensure he has game against Blood Moon, against Back to Basics, and with good reason. Fabiano, 2 copies of Blood Moon in his sideboard.
Also to just resolve his more expensive cards under these effects. He's even playing Back to Basics himself in the sideboard.
Quantos dólares será que tem na mesa? Cara, um bom tanto. Bom tanto. É que depende também das edições, tá ligado? Das coisas. Por exemplo, o Gerard Fabiano, as dele, acho que são de Revised, as duais. Mas as do Takahashi são borda preta, então é Alpha e Beta, é mais caro. Mas tem uma graninha aí, viu? É que eu não manjo tanto de coisa antiga assim, tipo, tinha que chamar a Oreia. Oreia sabe dizer. É porque é ser o Gerard Fabiano. Então, pera. Ele falou, eu virei errado, mano? Falou, não, cara. O Teped não quer dizer isso.
Unfamiliar with the legacy format, this is a pretty good indication of how games play out. Very little commitment to the battlefield, much more interaction in when it comes to the stack and the hand, and games tend to be over very quickly or very slowly.
Yeah, and one thing that I've been talking about a lot is how
eles estão falando um pouco sobre a velocidade do Legacy, principalmente nessa época tinha muito isso, tipo, ou o game era, sei lá, turno 2, ou um longo game grind onde todo mundo tinha recurso eterno. E aí você fica batendo de bichinhos com 2 ou 3 de poderes.
I think it's in a sense this matchup is pure magic, like it has been played for years.
Fabiano steps up.
Pronto, aí viemos finalmente com uma carta pesada. Virou Blast Man. E lá embaixo, na mesa standard, 1-0. Fennell.
Takahashi, as we can see there, a red blast in his hand there.
Forced to fetch a red source because he tapped Volcanic Island.
So he's going to have to go hunting with that polluted delta, go and find his other Volk. Oh no, it's actually Badlands instead here.
He plays a lot of non-blue lands.
Was it Badlands? Was it Badlands that was named after you, or was it Scrublands?
Thanks, Riley.
I know one of them. I know you named one of the jewels.
I haven't heard that one before.
Have you not?
We don't cast Legacy often enough.
No.
Toma ali.
Jace the Mind Sculptor going to eat this Pyroblast here.
Acho que tenta basicamente ficar com counters mais genéricos. Tá fazendo clock no adversário.
And now, a further fetch line. Takahashi certainly, I mean, flooding out, is that a fair way to say it? He's still got 100 cards in hand, so he's going to have use for the mana, but still, he's drawn a lot of lands.
Absolutely. Also fetched out quite a few of them, so his graveyard is full.
O mundo Fabiano tem Butterskull, que ele buscou lá no turno 2. Force of Will, Pierce, Burgess. Não sei se ele tá. Ele deve estar tentando construir uma board para que esse Butterskull volte o game inteiro.
Kind of weird way to shuffle away the top cards from the brainstorm, but hey, he can still do it if he needs to. And Takahashi sitting on double Force of Will, Fatal Push, Flusterstorm. Plenty of interaction from him. He can even engage the secret hardcast mode on Force of Will.
So is it really being flooded if you can hardcast Force of Will? It actually looks like six mana is the sweet spot for his hand.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Force of Will into Flusterstorm, maybe a Fatal Push to take care of something like a Snapcaster Mage. And Fabiano's still sitting on that Batterskull that he's been holding since he cast the Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, bit of a surprising line for me at least, that Fabiano declined turn after turn to put Batterskull
to shuffle it away. Because yeah, he can fetch it back up again with another Stoneforge as soon as he draws one.
Dando uma olhada no que tem de bom nesse grave aí, top, espada em arados. O clock vai pra 1. Aquela coisa, né? Como os bichos são pequenos, o clock não é tão grande, né? Ao menos você acha, tipo, um Tarmogoyf da vida, Gurmag. Dá muito tempo pro cara voltar. Você pega a vantagem, mas ela não. Tanto que é por isso que até me surpreendeu o Gerard Fabiano não ter feito o Butters 2, porque é um bicho grande.
And this is what you were saying before. Brainstorm plus fetch lands means that if Takahashi is unlucky to draw something like a Pyroblast when he's playing Moderate Prison,
temos ser uma guerra de campo.
He can then just shuffle it away with his Brainstorm. So it's a great point there. Because yeah, it's a very narrow card, but we do see blue as one of the the preeminent colors in the Legacy format, and this is one of the reasons. Force of Will pitching Spell Pierce now. Spell Pierce not going to do a whole lot of work, you would think here. But Takahashi is going to Flusterstorm back, and this is a great way to contest a second Force of Will here from Fabiano. Not that he can cast it. No more blue cards left in hand here for him. So now it looks like Liliana is going to resolve, and both players are going to have to start discarding. Swords to Plowshares hits the bin for Fabiano. I have to say, Takahashi now, we talked about needing to force the action, find some kind of hard-hitting threat, and Takahashi's been the one to do it.
And Takahashi has been the one to generate more value over the course of this game. Just the amount of cards in his graveyard on the battlefield in hand speak to that. That means the symmetrical ability of Liliana is just really, really good to have here.
Você pode deixar entrar, depois mandar sacrificar e falar pra ele subir de novo. Tem que dar pitch nessa fold.
Vigilance lifelink. Now Takahashi double force in hand. He could have stopped that.
He could have, but it would have been a 2-for-1 against himself, and he knows that he has enough lands to just hardcast Force of Will. So I really like him keeping 2 forces in hand.
The onboard answer to the
outra Liliana.
Liliana of the Veil sacrificing the
Pega
0/0, and now Liliana the last hope as well. Another
very
powerful value engine. It's only been within the last couple of months that these two Lilianas can work alongside one another here, but I tell you what, you get this train rolling, and it doesn't stop.
Agora o game ficou pegado.
Back to hand with a second Liliana, and now Takahashi just has to put the finishing touches on this game. How much damage has this Baleful Strix done?
It'll deal 7 more if Takahashi really wants to grind this out to the last.
Vai, batendo de Yu.
Also, Fabiano, I think
Takahashi pode também não ativar essa Liliana do véu dele, só ativar Last Hope.
It's maybe not what you want to do, but I think it would have been.
Matou a própria criatura?
So
Tá e comprar?
activated Liliana and targeted his Baleful Strix. He didn't have to. You can activate the Liliana without targeting anything. You can just go up to 1, so I'll choose 0.
Ah, tá, ele tem um comando. Ele vai falar, descarta uma carta e eu volto esse negócio pra mão. Beitado, Gerard Fabiano.
Whoa. And Fabiano didn't activate the Batterskull again in response?
I'm also quite surprised.
Does he not have any lands left to fetch?
That's possible, but there wasn't so much wastelanding going on.
No, that's insane to me that Fabiano just walked right into that Colligan's command, loses the miss.
Bora fazer streaks, da draw.
If you ask me, Riley, then Fabiano is just going through the motions here. This game is utterly lost.
I guess so, and I have to.
Ele tá nos perguntando aqui, tipo, por que quando ele foi voltar a Butter School, ele deu comando e tal, por que ele não ativou mais uma vez em resposta? Provavelmente é porque não tá aparecendo a comunicação dos jogadores. O Takahashi fez quando tava na mão. Descarta e volta e já tá tudo certo.
Fabiano sitting here and waiting and playing that to the bitter end. He's preventing Takahashi from going and advising Takimura or Fujimura.
Snap, já pronto. Destrói, descarta.
In the rare events that you're playing against better teams, you really want to
E Bolt GG.
In their own game so that they don't also benefit from joint collaboration.
Because I think 9 times out of 10 you would just scoop up the cards at a point well before we got here, but it's not enough for Fabiano to just do that because it meant.
Deixa eu ver como é que tá o chaveamento. Então, Uther, Leighton 0, Nassif 1, Pastore. Aqui os brasileiros, né? O Saporito e o Romão, com o Márcio Carvalho, que é português, 7-1. Já acho que tem um jogo deles. Wilson Ritz e Shenhar 7-1. O resto é a galera do 6. Vamos pro próximo game.
Yes, it's almost the same as what we see from the mono red decks. In the sense that
fazendo o elefantinho de energia, né? Quando ele entra, você ganha um de energia. Quer dizer, quando ele volta pra mão, você ganha um de energia. E se você não tiver 2 de energia, ele sobe.
those are, for example, Duress or Hour of Glory.
Faz ele na 1, depois faz ele na 2, 2 manas 3, 4, not bad. De ambos os lados.
Finding the courage it needs to take to the stage. And, well, a turn 2 green belt rampager is all very well, but when your opponent has one too, not such an impressive play there, Simon.
No. Now, Fennell can represent a combat trick
Steel Leaf.
defense, but doesn't have it.
São promo. E vai ter Steel Leaf do outro lado, versão normal. Mas aí do trio de japoneses, todos 1-0. Lembrando, como o corte é top 4, os 3 não entram. Então tem que ganhar. Todas.
Very difficult to block by smaller creatures, although that's probably not going to be a key line of text in this matchup.
Just block it with the 12-12.
Yeah. And you can see now, Katsuaki Fujimura, both of these tables or both of these teams, I should say, at 6 and 2. Tell us what the cut to the top 4 is going to look like, Simon.
Oh, that's a tough question, really. I don't
Dois Steel Leafs, tem Gauta, tem Ronas, Naturus Way.
Top team of the tournament does in the end. If we had somebody that goes 14-0, just in theory, then you can definitely make it with an X3 record.
But otherwise, things are going to be very complicated. The fact that it is, we do have a smaller number of
Mais um terreno, o fazer Gauta. Gauta é um monstro.
A much smaller tournament.
É um monstro herói, mas na Mirror acho que consegue ser pior ainda.
A few more, yeah. 165.
Melhor formato, né? Ever. E aí, Guma? Bom, mano. E Gauta veio antes do outro lado. Aí complica. Bom, ele tem lente pra fazer a própria Gauta. É play fazer Gauta, block. Apesar de que tem a deusa com Death Touch, né? Faz uma boa diferença a favor do Fujimura. Os trios é bom demais, Guma. Puta que pariu, cara. Queria jogar um trios de novo, viu, velho? Faz tempo que eu não jogo. Seja unificado, seja cada um num formato, é muito bom. A fome primordial, exato. Para uns marcadores aí. E Gauta. Não, Rampager. Death Touch Too Strong, amigo. Aí deu ruim, hein?
Death Touch fight your Gauta and took down the Gauta cleanly.
Simple as that, just to get it out of here, and an Hour of Glory as well, also contesting what Fujimura is up to, and also look at this. Hour of Glory cast on a god. We don't see that very often. Now,
Hora da Glória, os caras tão na pegada aqui. Não vai ter remoção nessa Mirror, não vai. Ou se vai.
Extra in hand Fujimura there, but all the same, a nice answer for the Ronas.
And I think that was Nature's Way, the fight spell that we see in the graveyard.
Well, not something that we.
Bom, de qualquer jeito tem 7 de poder aqui. Gauta tá razoavelmente fácil de ser conjurada. Naturus Way, criatura que você controla ganha vigilância trample. Stealth no turno, ela dá dano igual ao poder de uma criatura que você não controla. Picadinha no
Gets the job done all the same. We move on now. It looks like a Steel Leaf Fujimura as well. He's going to continue to develop his board now. He still has access to up to 3 mana thanks to Rishka and the Green Belt Rampager. They do tap for green thanks to Rishka's ability. And here is Golter again, just cast for 2 mana.
Okay, that's huge. If Fennell doesn't have an answer to that, he is suddenly under immense pressure despite being up 10.
Agora o Fennell tem que ter uma remoção, cara. Não é abraço. Não é só caixa. Um Doomfall ali que não vai fazer nada. Green Belt Rampager que não vai fazer nada. Gautinha vai dar uma visitada boa. Steel Leaf, hein?
In hand for Fennell. Some news from the floor, ladies and gentlemen. Fans of Channel Fireball will be very upset to hear that they've just picked up their first loss. The team of Stark, Utterlayton and User has gone down to Hararuya And so there are no teams with perfect records left in the tournament.
Steel Leaf, Ranger, 1 de energia, toma 1 de dano.
Just how you want to start your Pro Tour.
E aí a Galta pelo menos não consegue bater tão fácil, né? Ela se protege muito bem, mas ela não bate tão fácil. Ainda que o Fujimura consegue...
And Galta is just so huge. You need to triple, quadruple block.
Fujimura consegue tipo empurrar dano com ataques menores.
Of course, Fujimura knows that he has the trump card on the battlefield.
So, Fujimura now.
Pode ficar 15 também.
Opponent on 15. Certainly more than enough power on the battlefield to take that down to 0. It's just a matter of whether he can get across. In hand, Steel Leaf champion Vinemare. You see those cards there on your screen.
Vinemare.
One option certainly that he has to assess is sacrificing the Hash of Oasis here, just to make Galta lethal on its own.
Então, falando dessa opção, pode sacrificar o deserto, dar mais 3, bateu 15 Galta, um bloco pelo menos acontece obrigatoriamente. Necessariamente a pior das situações. Ele pode tipo, bater com o Steel Leaf, pra forçar a troca, fazer outro Steel Leaf e cutucando, por assim dizer, o Fennell até a mesa ficar pequena e a Galta ficar basicamente.
Fabiano in a brief conference about how to play this one forward, and Fujimura is certainly taking his time in pressing on with his game plan. As we said, Steel Leaf champion Vinemare in hand here. What are the options that he's weighing up here, Simon?
I'm honestly not so sure. It almost looks like they're discussing in detail whether to attack with more than just Galta.
Caralho, com a Galta.
The fact that Galta is coming is basically for sure.
Agressivo.
So here comes the attack now from Fujimura. Fennell and Fabiano are still deep in conversation here. Fujimura, Takahashi, and Takimura, of course, still well and truly ahead. Look at that scoreboard. They've won all the game ones here. And so now Fujimura's like, hey,
Isso porque assim, tá 1-0 pra todos os japoneses, né?
They're still chatting.
1-0 trio. Vou jogar direito.
So, Fennell now forced to line up some blocks. This is a lethal attack otherwise. There's no obvious way to play this one out here, son.
No, and you can hear Fabiano cracking some jokes there. Bluff and take it all. It's maybe not
yeah, probably not the winning line there.
Yeah, the question is if there is really a winning line. What you can definitely do here.
O que o Fennell pode fazer? Tipo, um bloco em cada. Deixa a Galta passar. Torce pra achar uma remoção. Ele pode jogar tudo em cima da Galta também. E aí ele toma 8, fica 7. Essa linha parece muito bem. Essa linha parece a melhor linha. Tipo, você perde 2 Steel Leafs, toma 2 pra 1 na Galta, mas você tem alguma ação pro resto. Tanto que tira a melhor hora pra conceder. Se conceder agora fica muito feio, vai esperar mais um turno. É, eles ficam fazendo um joguinho mental, né? De como se tivesse 1 zilhão de jogadas, assim, até uma hora que alguém vira, tipo, sério, o que a gente faz? Mas o Gerard ter saído aí provavelmente quer dizer que eles não acham que dá pra fazer nada.
Do something else, my friend. No, I think we're actually getting the legacy game started now, so Fabiano's had to return for that. And so now the blocks are successfully assigned, and Galta comes across for a big chunk of damage there. Fennell takes 12, I should say. Greenbelt Rampage are the only card left on his side of the battle.
E abraço.
Nothing doing for Chris Fennell. He has to
quando ele levantou ali foi meio, não dá, não tem mais nada pra fazer, deixa quieto. Pra qual jogo que vai decidir aqui? Aparentemente o W contra o Benjamin. Que é o deck que a gente já viu algumas vezes.
This time it is the version with Viscera Seer and a few one-offs, Grimflare, Grizzly Salvage. But we'll have to see if Blue-White can, I want to say, miraculously win the 2 sideboard game.
Do you think it's that bad, really?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, all right. Tell us. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm very interested to know why, because I think it's a little bit closer than you're making it out. So what is it that puts the Vengevine deck so far ahead of White Blue Control?
Pô, amigo, você tá numa situação difícil, hein? Boa sorte, falou. É tipo isso. Complicado, né, cara? Então, vou lá pro meu game, tá? Que foda, né? Por sinal, vai pedindo iFood aí, faz favor.
Here it's the one drop that will dump something in the graveyard and then you just start going off more or less. Now I might be wrong. This is a super new matchup in Modern. I don't claim that I know all of this, but just from the context how these games have been going, I would much rather be on the Jund Vengevine side.
Let's talk about what it means to play a Jund Vengevine rather than a red-black one we said before. But before we do that, I want to talk about this white-blue control deck. A very different approach taken by Peter Ingram here, who is playing 4 copies of Terminus, in addition to the 3 copies of Jace the Mind Sculptor. A fantastic combo there. But it's Opt as a 3 of that means that setting up...
Hoje já vai ter campo físico assim ou só pela arena? Cara, a partir do ano que vem voltam os Pro Tours físicos, isso porque os regional championships são físicos, então eu diria que voltou tudo bastante. Ali fetilizou. Tava na dúvida se o Ingram ia voltar, tipo, sei lá, de Rest in Peace, alguma coisa do tipo. Quando ele não faz isso, ele dá uma ótima janela pro... Você pode jogar partidas simultâneas no físico, seria da hora se pudesse fazer isso no Magic. Cara, eu já fiz isso jogando um PTQ do mall enquanto eu jogava um Game Day. Game Day? Não, acho que era um... Não, era um Showdown. Esse dia foi louco. Um oponente meu ficou muito ofendido. Ele falou, velho, o cara nem tá prestando atenção em mim. Tá ganhando os jogos. Ele ficou muito ofendido.
Grizzly Salvage, Grim Flayer, Destructive Revelry, these are all cards that mean that the green commitment is a lot heavier here.
Yes, although to be fair, you can sometimes cast your Vengevine. It's still not your primary way of getting Vengevines onto
not your plan A by any means.
So what this gives you is a few more
cara, momentos e momentos assim. Tem horas que o físico é melhor, tem horas que online é melhor. Depende de muitas coisas. Não costumo bater o martelo, não.
Turn 1 Serum Visions, turn 2 Search for Azcanta, but it's mainly what Takimura is not doing that means that Ingram's having a better time of things. Although he'll be feeling the pressure.
Brutalidade é interessante, ele tá com um bridge na mão, então ele pode dar uma brutalidade drenando e dando descarte. Apesar que provavelmente o Takimura queria ter mais criaturas para caso ele ache o Vengevine ele já possa...
I mean, it depends on you as a player, but it is
físico acontece.
You just see losses everywhere.
Yeah.
It's difficult to rally back and to keep thinking, I'm gonna win two straight. Fabiano is gonna win 2 straight. We got this, because it's just getting less and less likely.
Yeah, it's the uphill battle becomes a real psychological roadblock, and good players and great players will overcome that. But it is not to be sneezed at. It's something that you do need to remember the enormous psychological pressure
dos jogos
right now.
Então não tem a chance de acabar lá no Takahashi.
Like Takimura, Pro Tour champion.
And you said
ele vai pelo jeito tombar de primeiro. 1, 2, 3, já tombou uma bridge, já é Bridge era muito boa nesse tipo de match. Tipo, seu adversário nem sempre vai ter criaturas para deixar sua bridge pior, então é bem animador. A parte boa do físico é que seu oponente está de Fornigato, ele está ao alcance de suas mãos. Que isso, cara? A parte boa do físico pra Fornigato é que é absurdamente rápido. Você só fala, ó, tô fazendo loop. Tipo, você vai falando isso pro cara. Mais rápido.
That's what I meant, because just if you put yourself in the blue-white control position and you just know that there are 4 Vengevines and 4 bridges from below in your opponent's deck, you're already not feeling too confident.
Alvo nele mesmo. Aqui o Takimura provavelmente vai sacrificar uma criatura pra não trocar e não perder uma bridge.
Ingram is desperate for this V-Click to die, because it would exile the 2 copies of Bridge from below that Takimura has, and would really solve some of the problems. But it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen, Simon, because of the Viscera Seer. Takimura has a way to activate the bridges or trigger the bridge at instant speed and prevent the V-click from dying.
And Ingram actually top decked
Aqui em resposta.
a surgical extraction.
Oh, whoa, look at this, says Ingram. This is a great start. So, we've got now
2 bridge triggers on the stack.
After the Visceracia has died. It's been sacrificed.
And a scry trigger.
Yeah. So, surgical extraction.
And now
Meteu
what
surgical.
Takimura should do is probably sacrifice the Visceracia in response. Because I think he wants 2 zombies rather than killing the opposing Mendelian click.
Ah, só que ele ficaria ali em resposta.
So Takimura now. Looks like he's considering the play that you mentioned there. An extra scry trigger. Surgical extraction, a nice one though.
Trocar aqui é o pior dos.
Nice card to bring in against these graveyard decks.
O foda é perder boa parte da mesa.
The ultimate answer. Although we were discussing this earlier, Simon. Rest in peace may be just as insane as it sounds, a touch too slow.
In some of the games we've seen, especially yesterday from Nagro, the Vengefine deck often had 6 power or more on the battlefield on turn 1. And I'm starting to think that this is not the
Espero que tenha uma brutalidade na mão do Takimura.
Resolves after 2 zombies enter the battlefield thanks to the Visceracia's triggers of the bridge from below there. And we'll see now what Takimura is
Ele pode fazer matando ali,
brutality there.
matar a fada, tentar tirar uma cólera e aí bater 6/6.
That is a significant step forward for Peter Ingram here.
Absolutely. And some people might be expecting 4 zombies to show up, but Bridge from Below is actually even trickier than that. Even though it triggered from both of these creatures going to the graveyard, it only gives you the zombies if it's still in the graveyard when the trigger resolves.
Is that right?
It might not have been the most elegantly designed card in the history of Magic.
I mean, I love it. It's super weird.
Cara, reclamando do design de bridge, porque tipo, a habilidade vai pra pilha, você tirar a bridge ali no meio não resolve e tal, etc, etc.
From the Stitcher supplier and finally the scry from having it.
2 new Vengevines.
Oh no, says Peter Ingram.
Os Vengevines no grid muda muito a linha de jogo aqui.
Vendilion Click survives. So ultimately Ingram was able to get rid of those bridges.
Porque no próximo turno ele provavelmente quer dar tipo looting e fazer 2.
And so now, Takimura, considering what he's up to next. Collective Brutality is a really nice one. He's playing a 1-2 split between the main and the board. I love this card in Modern. I love its position. It's very difficult to have the card do nothing. And against certain decks, for example, Burn, it's just so good.
It did get a bit weaker now that the premier aggro decks of the format are looking a bit different, I think.
Sure.
Still quite good against humans, but if you play against Hollow One, you're not super happy about Collective Brutality.
No, I mean,
Tô pensando aqui sobre brutalidade, tipo, ele vai atrás da mão do adversário, porque agora não tem ele. Se ele mata a fada, né, dele aumenta mais o é difícil.
Yeah, and that's why I think, for example, playing 1 in the main deck is very reasonable. If you put 3 in your main deck in Modern right now, I think you're running into too many bad matchups, or matchups where it's not at its best.
Yeah, for sure. Takimura certainly taking his time over this decision. He's got to decide between Faithless Looting, Collective Brutality, or a Hangerback Walker for 1. Not really what Hangerback Walker is in the deck for, though, Simon. He's not able to get those Vengevines back. Not that they do too much good now, because combat, of course, has already passed.
Takimura, o que vai ser? Brutalidade descartando tudo. E se olhar a mão?
So, here we go. It's going to be the Collective Brutality. Discarding Faithless Looting in order to escalate.
Vision e
on the Vendilion Click and revealing
Terminus. Dá Serum Vision embora. É ali que vai ligar já. 3, 4. Liga rapidinho. É para se pensar. Às vezes até em tirar o Terminus.
Is enabling Search for Scanter to flip with this play.
Discarding a card, yeah, right.
And the Vendilion Click going to the graveyard.
Se o Ingram achar uma fonte branca, ele basicamente fica com 5 terrenos na mesa pronto pra dar um turn.
So the most obvious take here, I think, is Path to Exile because it deals with Vengevine. So if your plan is to Vengevine relatively soon, then you don't want your opponent to have access to Path. But you can always argue
ele não interagir e a cólera ser o último.
Your opponent doesn't see that many more cards.
So ultimately, Takimura does choose the
Essa segunda criatura, Vengevines, 14 de dano pronto na mesa.
That's a miracle player right there.
Is it off the top of Terminus?
Oh no, I think it's just Search for Scanter.
Oh no, it's okay, there you go. A rest in peace. So he does put that one in the bin, ultimately
vai pro draw.
The flipping of Search for Scanter is more important. And now,
I mean, rest in peace wouldn't have done that much. And a heads up play from Takimura. He checked that there was no Wrath coming. He just took his Vengevines back after combat.
So the Vengevines have entered play now thanks to that Hangerback Walker here. Of course, it was cast for 0, so it died straight away, but still was a creature spell. So it brought back the Vengevines. Now Ingram, he's in trouble. He's in trouble because he's taking a huge hit here, and this might be it. He's got a
Commando
in hand, but it's going to be instead Cryptic Command to tap the team, and that's the desperation mode, Simon. Tap draw.
Yeah, but I mean, it does gain him 14 life here. Draws
Okay. All right, you sold me. I like that.
He can chain more.
Vai.
He can find a master. He always has this out for Terminus.
Needs a Terminus off the top here to really seal the deal. Doesn't find it. Instead, it looks like a search for a.
Tem Serum Vision ainda que pode deixar no game.
Serum Vision's also another play, but the 6-cost Terminus can't be cast. Doesn't have double white. Doesn't have 6 lands. He can't flash back that.
Serum Vision, Terminus, busca por Escantar. Dá Serum Vision, tentar achar comando e ficar no game. Senão acaba aqui.
Yeah, and that has to be really, really good, and you have to draw it immediately. Timely reinforcements, like
oh yeah,
Nassif showed us, is the way, of course. Even Baneslayer Angel somehow looks really, really strong against this Vengevine deck.
So, Serum Visions, and it has to be something good here for Ingram. I think it was another
E ver o que é. Opt Land.
Opt and Plains.
Outro Serum Vision.
So now you can bottom
Mandar tudo embora, basicamente.
Or, Simon. Plains bottom, Opt on top. Serum Visions again, draw the Opt, find a Terminus, put it on top. Next turn, attack. Nuh-uh, buddy. Hallowed Burial Time, instant speed, 1 mana.
Vai tentar achar o Terminus no topo.
So that's exactly what we see. Doesn't find it. Gonna have to blind flip a Terminus next turn here, Simon. Otherwise, he is stone cold dead ski. It all comes out of the top of Ingram's library. Takimura doesn't need to do anything apart from turn his creatures sideways.
Mas tentar o milagre. Literalmente. Esse é literal.
Of his library. We know that one is on the bottom. We know that the one is in his hand. He has 2 more copies. And they've got to be, one of them has to be either the top or the
bateu.
Here's the attack.
It's about 5%.
He's got to roll a 20. He needs that critical hit. Opt, scry 1.
Rolou, mandou embora.
This has to be a Terminus or bust, or the Japanese take it out. Is it a Terminus? It's put in the hand. It's not.
Não.
And for
Abraço.
that reason, Takahashi, Takimura, and Fujimura win the day. A straight set.
Esse Takimura, se não tô enganado, já ganhou Pro Tour também, tal. Belo jogo, belo jogo. Nossa, 9ª rodada do Pro Tour 25 anos, o especial que tá fazendo aqui no Comentando Jogo Clássicos. Vai acompanhando com a gente, né, todas as rodadas desse evento por aqui. Até o próximo jogo.